Cheers, guys. Brand new episode. Today's guest is a South African living and working in the USA, America. We talk about his working sort of history in South Africa in the mining industry, and we cover how he managed to get into America, what you have to do to go work there, and then we cover sort of like the pros and cons of working overseas, all the positives and a little bit of the negatives. And if you are new to the podcast and you enjoy yourself here, please go spam buttons, go like and share and fucking comment and whatnot. And I think that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Stian Swanepoel. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Kakprat Chronicles.
I started using a new program that uses AI to help help you with the editing. So that, I must say, that is fucking amazing.
I've heard that's something that's become quite popular. Everybody with this AI. I actually saw in the week. I saw WhatsApp has an AI function, which you could basically ask them any questions, basically like a Google. I guess it's just a Google where you can ask them any questions or whatever the case may be. So
I've been wanting to sort of test the waters with the whole AI thing, but I'm too stupid to do it because I've used it, but I use it as Google, and I think that's the wrong way to use it. Is you should actually use it as if you're talking to a person. Where I just Google stuff with AI, and then I still don't get the proper answers. But what is amazing is with like the editing that I do for the podcast. A simple thing like I don't have to now go through all of the audio. It normalizes all of the audio, so it takes a lot of the editing work out. If there's any, it not normalizes. What will be the word? It sort of
I guess.
It makes a good average between my audio and your audio so that I don't have to switch between levels throughout the fucking conversation, which helps quite a lot.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine that assists you quite a bit. I've actually spoken to Amy a while back. She says you actually get a AI that assists you with writing letters or emails or whatever the case may be. And if you need to send an email or you need to draw up something, then AI does it for you. It's kind of interesting.
There's quite a bit you can do with it. There's I don't want to give too much away, but I've got an upcoming podcast with a guy where we specifically going to talk about the use of AI in music. Where I know there was a month or two ago, it might be a bit longer, there was a song that came out by Drake, I think is his name. I don't know who the guy, I know who the guy is, but I don't know the song. But where the Oaks are apparently not sure whether it's Drake that actually wrote the song or if it's AI. And there's so much that you could nowadays do. There's apparently a shitload of kids cheating in school with AI, with writing jobs and stuff like that. But I think there is. Now I'm gonna maybe spew a bit of shit now, but I know that there was one of the main. I don't know if he's like the creator of ChatGPT, but he was quite heavily involved with ChatGPT, and he got kicked out his own company, and then apparently they kind of lost control of ChatGPT. And they brought him back to sort of catch the reins there. So I don't know. I'm fucking scared. I won't say scared. Scared's not the word. I'm weary of using stuff like that. Because immediately I just go, fuck, as soon as I log into ChatGPT, that thing's going to go to my bank and just drain my bank account.
No, I agree with you on that one. I mean, technology has it's got such a huge influence on a lot of things nowadays. And I mean, if you can sit in the university and, I mean, you have an AI writing an essay for you or a thesis or whatever the case may be, I mean, yeah, something to worry about, I guess.
I think they do have fail safes for that, though, because I think you can use ChatGPT or you can use AI to write you something. Why is my mic dropping now? But you can also, I think, detect that if there's something that's been written by ChatGPT, it should be able to pick it up so that people can also... What the fuck's going on here now? Sorry, just give me a second. So I think let's do this, Stian. Stekkies, Stian. Stian, what's your surname?
Yeah. Swanepoel.
So I think let's do this, Stian. I will never call you Stian again because it sounds weird. I've gotten to know you as Stekkies, so you will be Stekkies from this moment forth. Stekkies, where do you come from?
Well, I guess South Africa is such a small country anyway. I mean, compared to a lot of other countries in the world. But I was born in Messina. Nowadays they say Musina. So I was born in Musina in the Limpopo province, and Northern Province. And basically, Dad moved around. We moved around a bit. My dad was a police officer at the time, and we moved around a bit to Pietersburg for a while, Polokwane. We lived there, and then we moved to the Free State. Actually lived in Fourisburg. This was in the 90s. My dad was at theft prevention unit, they called it back in the day. And then I think it's about 97, we moved back to Messina. I was in Messina up until 2006. Went to another high school in Naboomspruit, Mokgopong. And then, I've been just minding my own business up north, you know.
Mining and minding your own business.
Minding, I guess. But I've always been, I guess, up until 2021 was when I had the opportunity to come to America. And, to be honest with you, I guess it depends on each individual. I haven't looked back since. So it's a good experience for me, and I'm grateful for it as well.
What was your... So I made a bit of an inside joke because no one knows that you were in the mining industry. What changed for you in terms of working in the mining industry and then deciding, okay, now I'm going to go work in the United States of America?
Yeah. I guess there was a lot of factors that played a role, besides the fact that every now and then, like I said, I was in the coal mines for, I think it was 2 years. I started my apprenticeship, my training working in the steel industry. After school, I was very fortunate to get an apprenticeship at Everas Highveld Steel in Vanadium, which was a huge steel manufacturing company right outside of Witbank. I did my training there, qualified there as a boiler maker, you know. So steel work, fabrication, metal work, anything. Basically, we always had a joke. We said we were steel surgeons, you know.
Okay.
So I was there for quite a bit, and then there was a bit of an incline when it came to the manufacturing of the steel products in South Africa. This was about 2016, 2017. And then, it's one of those cases where you're running around like a headless chicken, sending resumes, sending CVs, trying to stay in the trade. Then I was fortunate enough to end up at South 32, it used to be BHP Billiton. It's an Australian company. That's where the coal mine basically mining coal for Dubai Power Station. I was working at the washing plant, coal washing plant. And from then, I was on the earth moving equipment for a bit on open surface. And then I moved to the chrome smelters outside of Brits. And I was there for almost 3 years. And then this whole COVID deal started. And I mean, you reach a point where you say, well, I don't know, I need to put one and one together. And a lot of my friends from back school, a lot of them were working in America at that time. And I just started asking questions, asking about, how can you, what's the opportunities over there? How can one end up in America? And got a bunch of emails, and basically you just boom, boom, boom. You just send as many emails as you can to as many agents as you can. And I was fortunate enough, and I got the opportunity. It took me a while, but yeah, that's how I ended up in America. Just kind of, it's difficult to settle yourself in one area of the country. And I mean, you adapt, you make friends, and then all of a sudden, they're laying off people, or they're closing down, whatever the case may be. There's retrenchments. So I kind of grew tired of that. And then, I got the opportunity to come to America.
Just before we ever talk about the whole America thing, you said now that you were at a coal washing plant, right?
Yeah, it's basically a processing plant, yeah.
But when you say washing, what is that? Is there water involved? Because the reason why I asked that, I can remember a year or two ago, there was a hell of an issue with load shedding in South Africa, specifically because they said the coal got wet because of rain or some other bullshit. Now I can remember someone made there was a thing going on, like a meme going on online, where they said, like, could you not have just built the afdakkie for the fucking coal so that it doesn't get wet? But then I heard stuff afterwards going like, no, but they actually wet the coal before they burn it. So how does that, do you know how that works?
Well, I think there's a lot of people that's gonna listen to this and say, "Oh, this guy's a clown." This guy doesn't really know what he's talking about. It was something new for me. It's basically, we had where the coal would come from the underground. They had a jaw crusher, so that's basically a vertical crusher. Just breaking your coal into smaller pieces, basically separating your rock and your coal. And then you've got the whole conveyor systems. You've got your rotary breakers where your coal comes through. So your larger rocks would fall through your grates. That gets conveyed off. And then the rest would just go through the process where it's onto the next conveyor, onto the rollering crushers is what they called it, where everything is basically a rotation process to get rid of the rocks or the poorer qualities, if I'm explaining it correctly.
Yeah.
And then you end up at your washing plant where you basically have a bunch of processes where it is you've got your vibrating screens. And when I say wash the coal, I guess it is treated with water, obviously, to get your soil and your ground and all that stuff off of it.
All the impurities off, yeah.
Yeah, and then that basically gets stacked on your reclaimer. So once your coal is ready for action, ready to get burnt, ends up on a reclaimer. I was fortunate enough, the plant where I was working, the coal that came from us went directly over the road, huge conveyor, into Dubai Power Station. And so basically your reclaimer stacks it in a pile, and you have like a rake rotating around it, just
all right,
gathering your coal down into another conveyor, and that would go, onto the power station. But obviously they have their own, stockpiles over there. So, I mean, if you gave them coal this morning at 6, they're not going to be burning it at 7:15,
Yeah.
So it all depends on. I'm not familiar with what they do on the power stations, what their processes are like. We just had to make sure they got coal to burn. That's all I can remember.
When they take the coal out the ground, when it's initially mined, What does it look like? Are they, because I've never been in a coal mine. So do they have massive pockets where it's just basically coal, or is it little pieces of coal and a shitload of rocks and dirt, or like what goes, that first dump of shit that comes out the ground, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's basically it's basically a combination of both, depending on the type of mine. I guess depending on the process, because you've got your open cast mines, and then you've got your underground. So you've got surface underground. So basically, I remember, if I remember correctly, this was quite a while back. So this was you had your drag line. They called it a drag line, like a huge shovel, just scooping shit. You've got machines hauling it off. So yeah, it's basically a combination of a lot of things. So it's not to say no, it's a clean, pure piece of coal.
Yeah.
And they're also actually quite interesting. They had a lot of grades. So as far as I can remember, South Africa used to burn the lower quality of coal, which the mines provided them, because your higher quality of coal used to be exported to Europe.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it used to be exported. Yeah, no, it's funny. And I don't actually recall having load shedding. This was about 2015, 16. I don't recall South Africa battling with load shedding that much. I remember 2008. We had a little bit of a struggle. And then I think, these last few years, that's the one thing that's always been on the news headlines, And nowadays, South Africa, they've got a minister of electricity or energy or whatever. I'm guilty for not really always following all the news back home.
Even me.
But there's so much politics. I think the unfortunate thing about it is there's more corruption and more. I think it's more political aspect than it is the fact that South Africa does have the resources. The resources are there. I think the biggest thing is just the mismanagement of it. I guess that there's a lot of factors that contributes to that. So
yeah. Well, it's the same with it's the same with fuel. If you go up into North Africa, anything, when I say North Africa, I mean anything north of South Africa.
Yeah.
But if you go over the border, then petrol and diesel is a fraction of the price that you pay for in South Africa. And it all comes from South Africa, which is a fucking joke.
Yeah. No, the majority of it, obviously. I mean, you look at countries like...
not all. Majority.
Yeah, the majority of it. I mean, you look at countries like Mozambique. You look at Angola. Those countries, they all have the abilities and the capabilities to produce their own fuel. I mean, they can produce their own materials, whatever it needs be. But unfortunately, it's one of those cases where it's just sold off to the highest bidder. So that's just my opinion. It's my opinion. It's not something that I read or something that somebody told. Some lecturer told me. It's just my opinion. Just observations I've been making.
Yeah, let's do this as a disclaimer. Nothing that is said in today's podcast is fact. This is all opinions between two people that know absolutely fuck all about anything.
Yeah.
This is just a bunch of hearsay and apparentlys and all of that.
It's one of those. It's like one of those incidents, one of those evenings where you're having a braai, like a fire burning. And then all of a sudden, everybody's engineers and everybody's, they know everything. So I guess today is just one of those cases where we're just sharing our opinions, I guess.
Yeah, today is a proper Kakpraat Chronicle session where it's just a bunch of Kakpraat. I feel like I do have to, at this stage, thank you for stepping in. I had a very late cancellation for tonight's episode, so you stepped in last minute. So this conversation is in no way, form, or there's nothing planned. We are
Yeah.
just we just ons praat net kak nou. So this is just a chilled conversation between friends. It's actually weird. This is a bit of a social experiment, I guess, because me and you have actually never met. We both come from South Africa, but we met through a friend of ours that also worked in America, and we just became friends through that. And I guess this is sort of like a little callback to the whole conversation about not necessarily AI, but just how technology's grown through the years, and how we are digital friends. Like I said, we've never met each other, but we've had some very deep conversations, and we've spoken about everything and anything. And it's quite fun. But let's get. I want to ask you a few questions about this whole America thing. You said I know quite a few people working in America at this point from South Africa. You guys mainly work through agents, hey?
Oh yes, absolutely. Everything goes through agents. Unfortunately, well, regarding my knowledge, once again, as far as I'm concerned, with my experience, it's you've got an agent in South Africa and you've got an agent on the American side, and they kind of the people that does all your paperwork, and they make sure, they need all your. Some people, if you've got a criminal record, I mean, all that stuff, they do the background checks and all that stuff. So you can't really dodge the system,
Why did you bring up a criminal record? Have you got a criminal record?
No, luckily not. Luckily not. Not in South Africa, my man. If you're in trouble and you've got 100 rand with you, you're good to go.
Yeah, you're sorted. Because as far as I know, as soon as you've got a criminal record, you're not allowed to leave the country, hey?
I'm not 100% sure regarding that, but I do know when it comes to visas, a lot of them, depending on the record, I mean, they're not going to ban you from entering another country if you've got a speeding ticket. That's outstanding. But
that doesn't show on your record. I think if something's on your record in terms of like drunk driving or killing someone or whatever, I think if you've got a physical criminal record, then you're not allowed to go out the country.
And then you're stuck in Africa, my friend.
Yeah. So, tell me, these agencies, do they? How does it work? Okay, so you contact an agency and you go, okay, listen, I want to go work in America. Do they then source jobs for you and they go, okay, this is the 5 farms that we've got an offer. Can you choose where you go? Or is it more of a situation where they go, okay, we're going to place you over here?
I think it's more, with my experience, it was more, I've never been in America. I never, except the little bit of farming knowledge I have is my granddad used to farm, and he was doing sorghum, and he had a bunch of sheep, doing quite well for himself. That's a bit of knowledge I have. School holidays, you'd go visit grandpa, You'd go visit grandpa on the farm. And I have a few friends that has small pieces of land, also just trying sheep, all the small, the commodities that cannot be stolen easily, even though when they say they call sheep back home, they call it a takeaway because it's easy to steal, But regarding that, I never had any, what can you say? What's the word? If I can think about it, I never had any.
You didn't have like a proper agricultural background.
Yeah. I never worked on a farm in the sense of earning a salary for it. So it was something that I've always heard the guys talking about, because I know most of the guys, you see a guy rolling up in a new bakkie, or as they say here, in a new pickup in your truck.
Yeah, Toyota.
So, when he's slutting out there with his Toyota Hilux. So, what are you doing nowadays? No, I'm working in America. So you kind of get curious. It never crosses your mind when you're doing well. When I used to be back home before things started going south for me, I never gave it a thought. Anyway, asked around a bit. A friend of mine, he's actually in Virginia. We went to school together, and he told me, well, I can't organize you anything, but I can give you a list of all the agents, and you can just email them and see what happens. So I sent my stuff. Yes, this was about 2020. I started sending my things, just emailing the agents and uploading your stuff onto their systems or database or whatever. And 2021, one of the agents contacted me. I kind of I've forgotten about it. She asked me, "Are you still interested in working in America?" I said, "Yes, hell yeah, I am." And she said, "Well, this is the farmer's contact details. Give him a call." And I had a little video call with the farmer. He said, well, I don't even think it was 2 minutes. I actually felt, damn, after the interview, it was a video call. I actually thought, oh my goodness, this went so bad. I didn't have WhatsApp at that time. So I used one of my friend's phones, and he was still in the kitchen. I went back, said, "No, thank you." He said, "Whoa, you done with the interview?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh,
Quick.
Yeah, that was a quick one. I doubt you got it." But I was fortunate enough. The farmer let me know the next day, "Listen, yeah, you got it." I didn't know, to be honest with you. I was so excited. I didn't even ask where, what, how, So I ended up in Kansas, Kansas in America. So, but I think if you have a few years of experience and you kind of know your way around everything, I guess you will be in a position where you can tell your agent, "Listen, yeah, I'd like to go to North Dakota, or I'd like to go to Mississippi, or wherever you would like to go." But you take what you get, I guess.
So what when you spoke to this farmer now in America, what were some of the questions? Did they ask you any questions, or was it more just conversation of who and what you are?
Yeah.
If you can remember.
Yeah, basically, I remember the signal was very bad. So it was kind of one of those videos calls where you were glitching like, But he asked me what's my experience regarding farming, and why would I like to work in America, and what is it? What perception? What's the? I guess, what do you think? What do you know about America? What do you know about farming in America? How do you see it? And I guess what helped me a little bit is just the fact that I can do a little bit of mechanical stuff. Seeing that I was fortunate enough to be a tradesman back home. So I guess I just kind of held on to that, told the farmer, "Well, I'm a metal fabricator. I can weld, I can change a tire, I can drive a pickup, And I guess from my experience, I was very lucky. The farmer was willing to take a shot. He took a gamble. He gave me the opportunity. And I mean, I've been employed at this farm. I'm going on my 4th year. And I mean, I guess I'm doing something right. So,
Tell me, going over there, as you said, now you've been there now. You're going for your 4th year. It's always interesting for me talking to people that are overseas, from South Africa. Let me put it this way: me coming also from South Africa, moving to the UK. I thought it was going to be an easy shift. Where it's obviously a European country. It's not that I'm going to, for argument's sake, an Asian country where the language is different, the food is different,
yes.
The culture is different, everything is basically different. I thought coming over here was going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
But it is a European country, and you'd reckon that it is an easy shift, but there's a hell of a cultural difference. The food might be the same and the language might be the same, but the cultural difference is quite big. I think us as South Africans, we have it's a very specific way of life that we've got in South Africa, that got going in South Africa.
It's unique.
It's very unique.
It's unique.
Yeah. And I've found specifically in work, my biggest upset is not in necessarily on social level, but on work level. I can see now. I've put my glasses on my forehead, and I've got 2 bright red marks on my forehead. Shouldn't do that again. But I've found that our working culture in South Africa is a lot different than what it is in the UK, and especially I'm also in agriculture, but I've found that the working culture is a lot different, and I do struggle with the working culture over here. And the main reason for that is that work is so readily available, where people can literally, if they don't want to work here today, they'll quit because there's so much work available. The single most easiest little struggle point, they'll just quit and leave because they can find an easier job tomorrow for basically the same pay. Because the minimum, what do you call it? Not minimum loan. What do you call it?
Minimum
wage.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you. The minimum wage is quite high over here. Have you found the same sort of thing in America, where it is culturally maybe not that different? It is still a Western country and everything that accompanies that. But how have you struggled with adapting to the social situation, making friends, the work life, all of that?
I guess I think one of the I guess the aspect of being over here, you don't have that language barrier. You know, even though your mother tongue isn't English, but I mean we did learn a bit of English in school. You know, you had 1 or 2 English friends, and my mom's married to a Rhodesian, so I kind of, my personal experience that I had the opportunity to learn English from a young age and be able to speak it. But I always thought, to be honest with you, I always thought, man, English isn't a problem until you come to America. And up until this day, I still have a battle with it, with understanding the way of pronouncing some words and the way they give an order, which is actually straightforward. I guess you just lose some English here and there. Regarding the culture, I mean, it's the same. We've got mashed potatoes and gravy and all that stuff. And you and I actually spoke about it a while back, is you get these people that moves from one country to another, even though I haven't moved, but I'm doing this on a contract basis, so I'll be in America this year. Well, I stayed during the winter, so I didn't go home. So you'll have people that tells you, yeah, but they don't have this spice, or they don't have this flavor of fucking chips, or whatever the case may be. But you should. You and I spoke about it actually, and you are actually the one that kind of opened my eyes to it, because you said, but you must remember, you can't leave your country and expect the country that where you're going to expect them to have all the things that you're used to or what you know. So, I mean, the food and everything, I can't complain about the food. It's the area where I am, it's very rural, so you don't always get that fresh. Like in South Africa, driving 5 kilometers and here's a few hawkers next to the road selling potatoes, sweet potatoes, avocados, bananas. You know, you don't get it over here in the area where I am. Yeah. But I guess the work culture, I've heard a lot of guys complaining, but I can't complain about my work. The works environment where I'm at, we have a hell of a lot of fun. We make a lot of jokes. I mean, we're basically friends, even though you still have that. You still know this is my boss, this is my employer, but after hours we can still hang out, fucking grab a beer, talk some nonsense. I haven't been around enough to tell you that in this area it's like this, in this area it's like that. But from my experience, the way things are done, I'd say, especially in different times of the year, when you've got your planting season, when you've got your harvesting season, it's very high paced. It's quick. Things need to happen. You can't drag your feet. But other than that, I can't complain. It's a nice environment. It's something to get used to. Regarding the English, you're speaking it now the whole time, 24/7, just speaking English. So the problem I had in the beginning was I'd used to translate it to myself from English to Afrikaans and then translate it again, Like, what did he just say? Okay, and I'll just ask the employer or whoever I'm working with, sorry, man, just repeat that. I didn't really get that. But I've adapted quite well, I think. I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me, but I've adapted quite well. And there's a lot of things that we used to do different, or that we do differently back home, compared to something that we wouldn't take as serious back home. That over here, it's, oh my goodness, my man, it's the end of the world. Where we would back home and be like, nah, it's not that bad. But it's something to get used to, but you do adapt pretty quickly, if that answers your question.
No. I think I can add to that. Like you said, now the little things in South Africa that we would just walk by, in terms of, I've picked up, in South Africa, you would say, for argument's sake, when I used to talk to my team at the start of the day, I would say, ons moet gou vandag dit en dit en dit doen. We must do this and this and this. Over here, you can't say that. You can't say, listen here, you must please take that tractor and move it over there. Because that must, you have to. You can't say you have to, because that's fucking aggressive over here.
Oh, yeah.
You can't tell someone, you ask people, would you mind moving that tractor over there?
Yeah.
That's something that simple little thing is something that I had to get used to very quickly over here. Because I think we as South Africans come across, I don't know if it's your experience over there, but it is a definite thing over here. We as South Africans do come across as very aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't think it's something that we actively do. It's just we are used to doing it in a certain way in South Africa, where over here you have to mind your P's and your Q's. That was definitely my biggest barrier to entry over here. But it is, the language thing is interesting. For me, that was a big thing starting here. Now, I've been in the UK for just over 2.5 years now. And funnily enough, me and my wife had this conversation a while ago where we don't hear the accent anymore. Now, we in Northern England. So Northern England's got, actually Yorkshire, where we are, has got some of the heaviest accents that you get in the UK.
Yeah.
When I got here, there was a few times where I spoke to people that, like contractors that come onto the farm or whatever, especially older people. And they would, I'd say, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And then they would talk to me, and then I would have no fucking clue.
Oh, yes.
I can pick up that the guy's speaking English, but that's about it. You pick up with and that and, but the rest of the words I don't understand. Then I have to phone the manager and say, listen, I'm very sorry. This guy's talking to me. I've got no idea what he's saying. Now, I watch a TV program from the UK or whatever, and it's funny that I don't even pick up the accent anymore. I talk to someone in the shop. It's your brain adapts so quickly. And I actually told Alison the other day, I did the same thing that you did, where someone talks to you and you sort of relay it back into Afrikaans in your mind, and then you think of what you want to say, and then you relay it into English, and then you repeat it. I found myself the other day counting in English. We were counting goats coming past, and I found myself like halfway through, I went like, oh, fuck, I'm counting in English.
Yeah.
Because besides talking to someone over the phone or on a podcast, I don't speak Afrikaans. I mean, my wife's English, so I speak English to my wife. I don't speak Afrikaans to anyone. Don't talk Afrikaans to anyone. So I think there is a bit of a mind shift that just clicks somewhere, and you go, no, fuck it, we're just English from now on.
Yeah. No, definitely. Now that you've mentioned that, I can relate to that. My first year I came over here, well, even up until this day, I mean, I was raised in an Afrikaner household. You know, your mom would have a bunch of chores lined up for you after your homework, and then your mom would ask you, how far are you with your homework? No, I just have English homework left. She says that. Don't worry about that. You know, that's how that's how we saw English. You know, we didn't think a lot about it. In school, you were speaking Afrikaans in the English class. You know, so it's one of those things. And it still happens to me. An American would tell you a joke, or they're excited about something and they get all carried away, and you just wait for them to start laughing, and you'll be laughing as well. Yeah, you know, that's funny. Yeah, but you never got it. You know, you never got the joke.
Yeah, you just pick up on the tone. Yeah, I have to laugh now.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I mean, you never got the joke. Yeah.
No, I've had a few guys here, and there's one specific guy on the farm that fucking hell, I struggle. We had a guy from Ireland working here for about 6 weeks, and it took me fucking 4 of those 6 weeks to just understand, because he would say something. Like I said, I mean, they're speaking English, but I mean, you guys in America, the twang, there's such a twang on the words that it's just fucking different. I've many a times I got home after a shift, and then I just fucking sat in silence, because I'm just so fucking tired of listening to something that I had to sort of spin through my mind the whole time, going, what the fuck what did this guy say now? It is something that you can't explain to someone. You have to live it. You have to be in that situation for someone to understand. But I do feel like we're getting a bit in the weeds here, talking about bullshit that people might not understand. Tell me quickly, your working visa that you've got now in America, does it allow you only a certain amount of months, or for how long can you work in America on your working visa?
So basically, you get a winter visa and a summer visa, if I'm correct. So I had to reapply for the winter visa when I did the rollover to stay during the winter season in America. So it binds you. So this winter visa is, can you say, legal or valid, whatever, for 3 months. So mine expires in March. Then it's renewed. You reapply for your summer visa, and then that's 9 months. So normally my first 2 years, I used to leave end of December. I was very, some people would say unlucky, but I was lucky. I always flew out on the 31st of December. Then the airports are quiet. You get back home, everybody's hungover, babalas, you know, so the roads are quiet, everything's chilled.
Yeah.
But basically the visa which I'm on is they call it an H2A visa, which is an agricultural visa, and that is on in the summer months. That's normally a year from March up until November, December, and then your winter visa would be January, February, and March, which I'm on now. So it's still a H2A visa, which is agricultural visa for your seasons, I guess. So your summer one would be 9 months, and your winter visa would be 3 months. So,
but don't you guys have tax implications in terms of how long you work in America?
It's I don't like that word, you know. I don't like that word. But as far as I know, you are liable to pay taxes in South Africa if you're an expat and you earn more than. Yeah. Well, speaking under correction, I mean, you just want to see the money coming in. You don't want to see it going out, you know.
Yeah.
So if you earn more than 1.2 million rand, then you are liable for tax in South Africa. I know some states in America. I had a friend working in Colorado. He paid taxes in Colorado, but he paid taxes. But in Kansas so far, I'm not sure if it's something from my part or from my side that I should look into. But I do know that you don't pay taxes on this side. It's actually a big spoil. I guess that's why a lot of people wants to do this, because you come to America, the farmer gives you accommodation, he gives you a vehicle, you get a good salary, and you don't have all those expenses like you would have back home. But regarding the tax, yeah.
The reason why I ask is, well, a few years ago, when my age group of friends went over to the US, they used to only be able to work for 8 months at a time outside of South Africa, because if you work for more than the 8 months, you used to pay super tax. Then you'd go to like 45% tax. But if you stay for less than that, you'd only pay like 17% or 20% or whatever the case may be. And I know a lot of people are on that rotation where they'll work for 8 months in the US, and then they'll spend 4 months back in South Africa and then go back to the US again for 8 months. It's always an interesting thing about the tax, because for me as well, we also have a bracket where if you earn above a certain amount, I have to pay tax here and in South Africa, even though I've immigrated. I've not immigrated financially because I don't have a British passport yet. So we also have to take a very close look at what we earn, because if you go above that, we pay basically double tax.
Yeah. I do know I've got a friend back home that normally does my taxes. I think it's, I've even forgotten when the financial year ends in South Africa. I can't remember if it was March or April.
I think it's like February, March, April, thereabouts. Doesn't
so
really matter.
He's got all my stuff. He lets, these last few years, he's just told me, no, you're good to go. So you log on to the website of the revenue services and you do all your stuff. So like I told you, it's nice to see the money coming in. You don't want to see it going out. So I guess I've never really given it much a thought regarding your taxes that needs to be paid back home or over here. But I do know that the amount of money we earn, it's nice when you do your the rate when you do dollar to rand, But the salary or your income is just not high enough, I guess, to be liable for a heavy tax. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Stickers. Let's just take a piss break quickly.
Okay.
I just need to. I need to whittle. I'll be back now. Okay. All right. So we're back. Piss break's done. Stekkies, I know we've spoken quite a bit, obviously before the podcast, over the past few nights, not the past few nights, but previous nights that we've spoken. We have spoken about how we keep ourselves busy, and for me, the podcast is a big factor of keeping myself busy and sort of keeping in touch with that little bit of South African that I've got left in me. Because there is, as we've said now, there is a bit of a cultural difference between South Africans and the rest of the world. I want to ask you sort of how you keep yourself sane and how you keep yourself busy while overseas.
Yeah. No. Well, I guess there's a lot of things that we've got this culture back home. You're growing up, you go shooting a few pigeons or doves, or you go shooting some guinea fowl. So what I like about this side is there's still that culture where you can take a rifle, go into the field, go shoot a few birds, shoot shoot. If you're lucky, we've been shooting a few coyotes over this winter season. That's been bothering with the cattle. So I've got that one small little thing that you keep yourself busy with. But other than that, in my personal capacity, I mean, you can still carry on with the things that you normally do. I enjoy reading. I do write some poems. They don't always rhyme, but I try to do stuff like that. But it does get difficult. I mean, you've got your family over there. You've got your wife. You've got your boy over there. When you're in America and there's not always a lot to do, you do socialize. I mean, sometimes you do feel that you've reached your social limit, you know. But regarding that, I think everybody handles it different, but I try to kind of stay out of my head, you know, because you've got yourself thinking, oh, you know, yes, if I was back home now, I would have done this, I would have done that. But I'm in America, I keep myself busy. You go drink beer, you go drive around. I mean, you've got friends over here, you've got people here. So it's just you need to get out. You need to get out and see places, you know, get in your vehicle. I mean, there's so many beautiful places in America that people aren't aware of, you know, and there's so many places that I would love to see, places that I would love to go and visit. But it's up to you, you know, you have to keep yourself sane, keep yourself busy, carry on with your little hobbies. Yeah, I guess I keep myself out of trouble. I try to, at least.
I think that's it. I think that's a very good point that you brought up now. Is you have to kind of keep doing what you used to do in South Africa.
Yeah.
I'm on quite a few of these expat groups on, for argument's sake, like Facebook, and it's always interesting for me to see people that have immigrated, and then within 3 months, 4 months, they move back to South Africa because then they complain about simple stuff, like they complain about the weather in the UK. And then I always think, like, for fuck's sakes, did you not Google England? Like, did you think that we are in the Bahamas? Did you think that you're going to get 18 months out of 12 months worth of sunshine? It rains the fucking whole time here, and it's cold, and it snows, and it's shitty, and the wind blows, and you've got every second week we've got a storm from the north, and like I can never understand how these people move here and then they go, oh no, fuck, it's too cold.
Yeah,
it's a simple thing like that. And I've had so many conversations with friends of mine that are over here, that are in America, that are in Australia, New Zealand, and Ireland. Yeah. And the oaks that really make it are the oaks that go, listen here, I love a braai. And I'm going to braai, whether it's raining, whether the wind's blowing, whether it's shitty weather or good weather, whatever. Because it's that you sort of, you keep hold of that little thing that I almost want to say that makes you a South African, that makes you that, it's just that, and it's such a simple little thing where me and my wife have kind of like this rule where at least once a month or once every 2 months, we'll just drive out on the farm. We'll obviously pick the good days, but we'll just go the furthest point of the farm and we will make the tiniest little fire just so that you can sit out there and enjoy whatever view you've got. And whether the sun is shining or not, if it's cold, you put on a jacket. And it's just that little piece of looking at a fire, looking at a... You maak net bietjie vuur, net bietjie. It's just that, there we go. There we go. That's what recharges the batteries. And I think that's what so many people miss. And coming back to what you said earlier, is you have to immerse yourself in the culture. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. You can't expect to move to... In my instance, you can't expect to move to England and then expect South African weather, expect South African food when you go into a shop, expect you can't make England South Africa. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with that. But I think it is a very crucial thing to also just try and keep up a little bit with your original person.
Yeah. I think just to add on to that, I think a few years back it might have been a bit more difficult. But what makes it easier nowadays is you've got all this technology. I mean, I've got an app on my phone. I'm listening to RSG. I'm sitting in America listening to RSG. Sitting in a tractor or sitting in the sprayer, sitting in the combine, listening to RSG, or working in the workshop, switching on the Bluetooth speaker, connecting it to my phone, listening to a South African radio station. You've got services like Amazon where you can order spices from South Africa. You can order 6 Guns Grill. You can order Freddy Hirst. Yeah, you can order. I mean, you go onto the website. You can order Castle Light. You can order Hansa Pilsner. Whatever you want. So it's not that you're living in this squared box where you are limited. Now I need to drink American beer. I need to eat American food. It's become so easy. You can live in America. You can use South African spices. You can drink brandewyn, brandy from South Africa. You can make boerewors. You can make biltong. I mean, you've got all these things going for you. And I think that the biggest thing to get over is people living in Australia or New Zealand or Canada or America or Britain, wherever they decided to go, is that it's kind of what you make it. You can't tell yourself, hey, I'm here, but no, they don't have Richelieu, they don't have biltong. It's what you make of it. And as soon as you can cross that barrier and tell yourself, you know what, this is where I want to be. I love the people. I enjoy the area. I enjoy the place. This is what I want to do. That's what you do.
Yeah, it's I think that's what makes South Africans unique in that sense, is we are adaptable.
Oh yes.
And I think it just shows at this point in South Africa as well, where fucking hell, Oaks are sitting without water, Oaks are sitting without fucking electricity, and instead of bitching and moaning, people are fucking putting in solar, and people are getting fucking generators and blah blah blah. And it's just you roll with the punches, and I think that's what makes people coming out of South Africa at this point almost a commodity. That's why we are so employable, is because we are adaptable. You can put us anywhere in the world, and we will fucking shine bright like a diamond.
That's the absolute truth. And I mean, I don't want to get into the politics, but you're listening to the news and how things are going in South Africa. I mean, I'm not going to lie when I tell you, I don't miss the country, I don't miss the people. Of course you do. But you reach, my personal experience, you reach a certain point in your life where you say to yourself, well, now I need to start thinking about myself, Now I need to start making money. Now I need to be employed. I need to work. I need to have a goal. I need to have a purpose. So unfortunately, you've got all these political aspects back home that kind of restricts you, because they've got all these BEE and they've got all this bullshit. And I mean, it's basically that paying for the sins of your forefathers,
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, it's absolutely the truth that you just said. I mean, we as South Africans, and I can be a bit cocky saying that, but I do believe we are a commodity to a lot of places because we want to work. I mean, we want to work. We want opportunities. We want to contribute to society in a positive manner. We want to feel that we are doing something. Even if I'm just sweeping floors for 10 hours a day, if I can do that and I am serving a purpose and you are satisfied with what I'm bringing to the table, that's the type of people we are, and that's why we're so popular. I mean, you fly back home, you land in Amsterdam on the airport, you meet a bunch of South Africans. Hey, no, this one's in Panama, this one's in Canada, this one's working in the British Virgin Islands, this one is in New Zealand. And I mean, if they did not want us because if we didn't mean anything and we did not contribute in a positive manner, why are we there?
Yeah. That's fucking interesting, because even so we are obviously very close to Amsterdam. Yeah, it's just across the North Sea. And when we went on holiday last year, March, and we flew from Humberside here to Amsterdam, spent about 6 hours in the airport there, and then flew to Joburg. And I can't remember if it was going there or coming back, but there was probably, I would say, a good 40% of the airplane was South Africans, English speaking and Afrikaans. You could sit because we were sat there waiting. Yeah. Obviously, we had, like I said, we had 4 or 6 hours to kill, and obviously, I've got a 3-year-old that we have to keep busy, and this fucking kid is just everywhere. That kid's just as autistic as I am, so he's running everywhere and just talking to everyone and running. Loves stairs, so as soon as there's stairs somewhere, he goes up and down, blah blah blah. But I had to sort of catch myself, because you can't in an airport like that. That's an international layover. You can't just say, "Hey, kyk hierdie fucking doos at this time." Because the guy would most likely understand you, and you can always spot the South African with a kort broekie and what's that jacket, that Cape Union Mart jacket, man.
Cape Union Mart.
What's that Cape Union Mart? It's not the Cape Union Mart brand, but it's not North Face.
Isn't it North Face?
North Face?
Yeah, I think
something
it's
like
North
that.
Face.
But you can always spot that guy. Like, no, he's heading to America. It's always interesting spotting these guys at the airport.
I remember my first year I came over. So you get this list from the agent that this is the locks you need to use, TSA approved locks, and this is the stuff you need to be carrying, and this is what you need. Kind of like a new adventure, And I got these young oakies there in Pretoria. They're in the Grove shopping center walking around. So I actually going to I think it was a Cape Union Mart. And I see these guys with their shorties, wearing kort broekies and lekker khaki shirts. And hey, are you guys getting to America? But young boys, man, 18, 19 years old. I wish I could have. I had the opportunity when I was that young. But no, we're going to America, and you don't know what to expect. I mean, I remember my first day. I got to the farm. The farmer said, "No, just bring that semi around, that truck. Just bring it around, pull it over here." And oh shit, I don't know how to drive a truck, And that's kind of all the challenges you face over here. And I actually yesterday I moved around a bunch of stuff in the shed, and it's all these machines, and I'm like, yes, I feel kind of good, the fact that I can operate all these machines and the knowledge that I've gained. Because the first year I came over here, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to drive a tractor. I didn't want to do anything because you didn't have the basic knowledge of it. You didn't know how they want it to be done. But it's kind of interesting to see all the South Africans all over the show. These guys are working on a boat. These guys are picking fruit in Britain. It's very interesting.
There's for me, one of the most amazing things is you walk into a random shop, whether it be like a co-op or just like a Tesco, or just like a supermarket or whatever. And then as soon as you go, oh, thank you, whatever, then they go, so where's that accent from? And then I like to go, well, guess, because we never get South African. We either get New Zealand or Australian. That's our two main guesses. And they go, no, I'm South African. And then 99% of the time, people go, oh, yeah, I've got a friend that's South African. He lives over there. He's been here for 22 years or whatever. And I mean, most of the groups, I'm in one specific group, Saffers in East Yorkshire. Now, East Yorkshire is fucking small. If you put it up against South Africa, East Yorkshire is a little fucking town almost. And there's like, I'd say probably about 1,500, 2,000 South Africans just in East Yorkshire, not even just in Yorkshire. So it's amazing. It's amazing how many South Africans you get all around the world. And I mean, for you accents in the USA, like I said, I've got quite a few friends working over there, and it's so easy to find another South African while you're overseas. It's just like, oh yeah, no, there's a few guys over there and a few guys over there. It's quick, and then you have a braai.
Now over here, you want to meet a South African, you go to Walmart. You go to Walmart on a Sunday, and then that's where you'll get the South Africans, you know.
I'm gonna break my own rule now, but I've got a kiff story. I think we were still in South Africa, and I had a friend working in the USA, and he was walking in. I think it was a Sunday. Doesn't matter really. And I asked him, because I mean the Walmarts in America they're massive. It is.
They're huge.
It's a town, and it's a town in itself almost. And I asked them, do you think that there is another South African in the shop? And he said, well, there's only one way to find out. And he shouted at the top of his lungs. He shouted, "Yo ma se," I'm not going to say it. But he shouted, yo ma se doos, basically at the top of his lungs, and then stayed quiet for a little while. I said, well, no one gave answer, no one called back, so he's guessing he's the only South African there. And I love that that's become the calling sign, because I must say my wife is a bit more conservative than I am when it comes to that sort of stuff. But I also kind of do that every now and again. I'll walk into a shop and just speak Afrikaans like very fucking loudly. Okay, hey, julle naiers, verstaan julle my hierso? And then just see who answers back. And I've never received an answer back. I've had once where I walked into, luckily, I've had once where I walked into a Sainsbury's over here. And I bought tobacco. And the woman said, hey, I can pick up that you're not from here. And I said, where do you think I come from? And then she switched and said, yeah, no, jy's 'n fokker Suid-Afrikaner, you bliksem.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, there we go. She's from Joburg. She worked here locally. She's from Joburg, but they've also been here for like fucking 22 years, I think.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting, and it just shows you that I think one must always remember, especially when you're young. You know, I wish, like I always say, you know, you wish there's a lot of stuff that you would have done when you were younger, working abroad and stuff. But you're not a tree. If you're not satisfied or happy with where you are, I guess you can always just send your resume, just see move. What happens. Yeah, just move. And I mean, there's a lot of South Africans all over the show. So I mean, if it works for one individual, why would it not work for you? You know,
it's actually so easy nowadays, and you did touch on it earlier, where you said because of like social media and this way of communication, it's so easy to keep contact with people. I can remember the week before we moved to England.
Yeah.
We were kind of like on a little family holiday just for like the last week. And my uncle one night, we were sat next to the fire, had a bit of a braai, and everyone went to bed. And it was just me and my uncle. We had the last few drinks. And he told me, because I think he coached rugby in like the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, early 2000s. He was a rugby coach in Ireland somewhere. And he told me outright, he says, do you know how big of a mistake you're making now?
Yeah.
Going the path that you are planning on going. Like, do you know how fucking morbid you're going to get? Do you know how depressed you're going to get? And he had this whole like negative fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I just told him, it's just, you need to remember, it's not fucking 1995 anymore. It's because his main thing was, you need to understand that you don't see the sun. There's no vitamin D. There's fuck all. You're not going to get a tan over there.
Yeah.
And also, you don't know anyone. You can't call home. You can't talk to anyone, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but no, you're misunderstanding, my man. It's so easy. I could just call you on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
If I get the tiniest little loneliness, then you can just call someone. And then you get that little bit of South Africa. And it's become so easy for South Africans to immigrate. And not just immigrate, but just to go work somewhere. And with sponsorships and work visas and all of this, it's become easy to go and get a little bit of the outside world. And I must say, if I was unfortunate to not have been able to take like a gap year, but at this point, I would tell every single person that I know, every kid that I know, to fucking take a gap year, go see the world, go. If money wise you are able to do it, fucking go for a year, go see the world, do what you want to do, get that out your system, and then decide what you want to do, because the world's become so small, my man.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. It's exactly the way you put it. You know, there's so many opportunities. There's so many things out there, you know, and I kind of think about it a lot of times, like growing up, you know, we had this culture where you must get a job, you must get a car, you must get a wife, you must get a child, you must get a house, and you must make a loan to buy the house. And
you must. I love that you say you must.
You know, that's the thing. I remember my biggest thing, as I said earlier, I was so privileged and fortunate to get the opportunity to do a trade and become a tradesman and earn a decent salary back home. I was 22 when I had property. You know, I bought property.
Yeah.
And I was in this groove, in this vibe, you know. I've got the car. Yes, I finally got the house. Now what do I need? But you know, whenever I meet anybody, younger people as well, I tell them, go see the world, go travel. Even if you do au pair, if you look after somebody's child, whatever you do, go see the world before you end up in a situation where you're in your 30s and you tell yourself, man, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have given this a shot. Go see the world. Go live a little, you know. And like you said, the world has become so small where you can get on a plane, you can apply for a Schengen visa, you can go to France, you can go to Italy, you can go to Denmark. You can do all these things. All these opportunities are there, you know.
Yeah, it's become very easy, and I must say our South African passports do make it difficult.
Oh yes,
you can't necessarily go wherever you want to go, but the working visa does put some stuff in place. But it's if I take a look at sort of like friends of mine that have got kids that are of older age, that are now 17, 18 years old, that are also going overseas now, I almost get excited for them. Because like I said, I did not necessarily have that option when I finished school to go overseas and to go do that. And I think most people my age were not necessarily, I don't want to say forced into that position, but I know a lot of people that did not go on to study.
Yeah.
They did not know what they wanted to do, and they were sort of like, fuck, I want to go see. Force is not no, I don't want to say they were forced to go. It was a situation where, you know what, no, I actually want to say forced, because their mindset put them in a situation where they said, fuck, I don't want to work here. I want to go see something, and their mindset almost forced themselves to go overseas. And it's such a kiff thing to do, because I know of one specific guy. I don't want to put him in the spotlight. I'm not going to say his name, but I know he went to South Africa. South African that went to work in America. And I know for a fact his first year was fucking tough.
Yeah.
Went back to South Africa and decided he's going to go work. Worked for like a month and said, I can make so much more money in America.
Oh, yes.
And then went back to America for, I think, 2 years after that. And then went back to South Africa, started his own business, bought a house, bought a pickup, blah, blah. He was able to set himself up for life, basically. I mean, he made enough money in 3 years' time in the US that he's now able to live very comfortably in South Africa.
Yeah.
And that's one of the opportunities. Can you tell, what's her name, Amy, that she was just fucking quiet down, please?
Yes. Yeah.
But I think we do as South Africans, we do have the opportunity to go overseas because our rand is so shitty at the moment.
Yeah.
If you go any place outside of South Africa, you make so much money if you work overseas for a year or two and then go back to South Africa, that you are able to set yourself up, like I said, fucking for life.
Yeah, yes. No, definitely. That's why I tell you, and a lot of young people just need to use that opportunity and realize that there's a world out there. And I mean, even don't be scared to take a chance. Don't be afraid of taking a chance. I mean, go see the world. Go see the world. Go live a little. Don't get caught up in all these pre-designed ideas that we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to do this. You know, times are changing, and you need to adapt to it.
Definitely. Stekkies, I want to say thank you very much. I know you've got some work to do now. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for filling in on short notice. I've had a hell of a good time. I'm not going to...
my friend.
Cheers. Let's do this. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Cheers.
I'm not going to ask you where people can find you online, because I know you've got zero signature online. So I think all I want to say is, if people want to go to America, go find a fucking agency or some other person that works there. They'll give you a fucking slot, and then you can go.
I can even send you a list of I'll send you a list of all the agents that there is, and you can even post it somewhere. If anybody is ever interested, I can send you the list, and you can put all the agents out there, and people can just contact them and give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose.
I think that's a great idea. Send me through some of those links, and then I'll put it in the description. If there's anyone that wants to go work in America, then they can just follow the links and take it from there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Philip.
Great stuff. Stekkies, thanks for your time, mate. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too, my friend. Be safe.
Okay, cheers, bud. Bye-bye.
Cheers, man.